Oh my goodness me, hello! I now think I've just spent about an hour trying to work out what's gone wrong with the video recording. I had my friend here yesterday because the monitor has been down, so he's replaced it for me free, which is very kind of him. And I just got myself all dressed up, makeup on and everything to do this video, sat down here, and the video icon was missing. He said, check something boards. What are they talking about? I've just rung him. He doesn't know what it means. I don't know what it means. I've been searching everywhere. You know what it's like. Click here, click there, nothing happens. Eventually I had this inspiration. I've been asking the angels, help me to know what to do. I don't know how I've done it, but I went into something. I forget what it was. And it's appeared. Anyway, it's been raining for 2 days here. And I've been through a hell of a time. I expect you all have. We had a huge shift of energy after this went into the void, apparently, according to Stefan Burns. He's a good chap to watch. He's a scientist, or he's a geophysicist actually, and we went into a void, which was like an empty space, and since then there's been a huge shift of energy. Well, it knocked me out. I've had 3 really big issues to deal with, one after the other. I need a rest. I've not slept for 2 nights. I need a rest, I keep saying. I think what they've done is there's 3 now. I will do a video on one of them because it was pretty powerful, but this time I'm going to do the last video was so silly. I thought a more serious one this time about my next house move, which was from Newark in Nottinghamshire to Lincolnshire. I keep finding myself in these strange places. Why I choose old properties that are drafty and cold, I don't know. I think it's just what's available. You know, you're renting, so you take what you can. So anyway, the house move took place to this very small stone cottage, a little farm cottage again, in the middle of nowhere. Well, no, actually, it was a place called Welton, very small village just outside of Lincoln. And we got there, and I got a beautiful pine cupboard for the kitchen. It wouldn't go in. Very tiny cottage. So the chap offered me 60 quid for it. It would have been worth at least 300. They couldn't get the wardrobe in, so they had to put it on a pulley and pull it up to the bedroom window. It was so tiny. I'm in the front room. It was so full of stuff you could hardly move. It was ridiculous. I don't know why I didn't check it out more thoroughly, really. And it was the coldest place I've ever lived. I can honestly say that. Night storage heaters, you might know about those. Used in the UK would know about them. Heaters that build up heat during the night. They last a couple of hours in the morning and then you're cold again. I had an open fire again, which I love. I love an open fire. I managed to get that going. But the cold in the kitchen, and I kept complaining to the landlord and he wouldn't believe me. I wondered if the night storage heaters weren't working properly. But the coldest part of the house was the bathroom. Well, it wasn't a bathroom, it was a room with a bath in it. And it's a very tiny room, just a bath, and there must have been a sink in there and a toilet. And there was no heat in there at all. And when I first looked at it, I thought, what on earth is this all about? There was a big hook on the ceiling. Apparently it's where they used to hang the pigs, or pig carcasses after they'd been killed. They'd hang them on this hook. And it had been converted into a bathroom. Well, I mean, you don't get undressed. I had to, oh, I did. I think there was a heater, electric heater. You could put that on for a while. But when anybody came to see me, I said, make sure you go to the toilet before you get here, because you won't want to take your knickers off. It was cold. And they had a little windy staircase up to the bedroom. There was a main bedroom, which was rather cosy. They'd done certain bits to it to obviously invite the person to live there, you know, the buyer. The rest of it was crap. The kitchen was crap. This little windy staircase, I was coming down, was it the first 2 or 3 nights, I was lying there, I could hear this strange sound. Now, it wasn't a spirit, it was a high-pitched sound, so I recorded it on my phone. And I spoke to my landlord the next day or whenever. I said, what is this sound? And he looked aghast. Thought I was a nut. And apparently it was the gas thing. You know, these ceiling things, no electric. They check on fumes. And it was running out. So it's making this strange sound, and I don't know what it was. Oh Lord! But this windy staircase, I was coming down it one day and I fell from top to bottom because there was no handrail. And I said to the landlord, surely that's illegal. I'm not paying a lot of rent, but I'm paying some rent. Surely you should have a handrail legally. You see, these landlords, they do pass you off on the most ridiculous stuff. Get away with it. Well, he had to put a handrail in. I think he put a rope in or something. It was just the bleakest place I've ever lived. It was right next to a stables, actually. And it was very haunted. This time it was haunted. I was the haunted one. I attracting it or whatever, but nobody would visit me. He said, no, we're not going to visit you. The place is so awful. And it was very dark. I used to find I've got one here actually, my CDs, great big deep scratch all through the plastic. Papers would get torn up. I mean, it was a nightmare. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I'm fairly good with the simple stuff, but this was very complex. So I eventually rang the local cathedral, the canon, whatever his name is, to come and check it out, do an exorcism. Well, he thought it was me, and he put his hands on my head and did all these prayers and things, you know. I don't think it was me, but I think either it was this entity was either already in the cottage, or I brought it with me from the last one. It gets more interesting by the minute. So this cottage was very dark in lots of places, but I was never afraid. It wasn't that kind of haunting. It was I just knew there was something around. Whether it was with me or not, I don't know. And when I saw the local doctor for some treatment, I had to mention to him. I somehow felt that he was psychic. He said, "Oh, don't worry." He says, "Come to me." He's attracted itself to me. He said, "I've had to get rid of it." And this thing was going around the village. He said the local doctor had to deal with it. So whether it left or not, I don't know. But I've always felt that place wasn't really very wholesome. And I had to actually go to court. I had to actually go to court because when I got there it was such a dreadful mess, and I put a lot of effort into the gardens and everything, and I thought, I'm not paying the last month's rent because I deserve, I deserve to, well, the heating, there was so much wrong with it, and I thought, I'm going to withhold the last month's rent. You just can't do that. Well, you can do, but it gets you into an awful lot of trouble. And he took me to court. Now, this is my second experience of being in court. I haven't told you about the other one when I had to divorce my husband and I had to go to court in the Great Crown Court in Bristol. Have I told you that? No, I haven't told you that. That's a good story. Going to court. I had to divorce my husband. I did it on my own without a solicitor. Got the forms and all that business. I did it. That's another video though. I can't do that one this time. But this landlord, he was such a bugger. He wouldn't obviously he wouldn't accept a loss of a month's rent. So he took me to court. I've been to court so many times. Bankruptcy, I've been through that. I haven't told you about bankruptcy yet. No, I haven't. Bankruptcy, issues with landlords. I mean, I could write a book about court issues, and they are a nightmare. This landlord, he took me to court. It was a Crown Court in Lincoln. And I had all my answers ready, of what I was going to do. And a friend said her husband would come with me to support me. Well, he didn't support me at all, but we did decide that he was taking me for all these plants. I had lots of plants, and I said that he'd sprayed them all with weed killer to make the ground clear for me. Okay, it was next to a stables. I'm going to check the time now. I'm getting very excited because I'm so pleased with myself having got the video back. Oh God, nightmare. I think I deserve a gold star. I mean, my friend came on Tuesday to repair he brought a monitor with him because it was down for quite a few days and I was getting panicky. I could still do a certain amount of work on it, but the bottom half was missing. All my little icons were missing, so I couldn't do anything. And I resurrected all my book I want published and all my stories, and I'm resurrecting because I'm determined to get them out on Amazon or something. So I'm going through it all, and you would not believe the nightmare I'm going through because I was off my head. I've been here 8 years now, and the first 2 or 3 years, the stuff I've come across, I thought, if you'd read what I'd written, I mean, I can make sense of it almost, but there's so many peculiar things happening to me. Spiritual. I'm on a different plane, you see. I'm here, but I'm also working on the 5th plane. I always have been on the 5th dimension for many many years, and I'm working up here with all these weird things and things happening to me, and working with the masters, and still trying to get sorted down here with no money and all the renting goes on. And I've been trying to get these two together, so I come across all these articles I've written. Some are a triplicate, pages and pages and pages of words, whole documents, 2 or 3 sections of documents, folders. And I thought, I've got to go through this because it's a bit of a mess. I'm not very organised actually. I tend to sort of do things and put them somewhere, but I really should put all the different things in one folder or something. I need help. I need a mentor. I need a man with a mind, technically, to help me sort this out. Anyway, I'm digressing now. I'm getting carried away. Okay. Where was I? Oh, I didn't have my computer then. No, I did. That was the first. My mum died. Oh gosh, yes. I must tell you. The minute I got there, my mum died. I mean, she was in Bristol and she had been ill, but I didn't know how ill. The phone went. I'd only been there a week. The phone went. It was my brother-in-law. He said, "Your mum's gone." I said, "What do you mean she's gone?" He said, "She's died." She died? What? This is a brother-in-law from Bristol phoning me, telling me my mother had just died. And I thought, well, where are the details? Where is the information? I had nothing to go on at all. I knew she was in hospital. I didn't know. I thought I had rung her when I got there. I said, "I'm here. I've arrived." She said, "I'll talk to you later. I'm not feeling well." And after that, she must have gone to hospital. Nobody told me. This is a whole saga. I've got another video coming out about funerals. I mean, you would not believe what I've been through with funerals. This is when my father's funeral was many years ago. That's another saga I haven't told you about. But this was my mother. And I thought, well, there was nothing, there was no information. They wouldn't talk to me. I was being punished, you see, because they thought I was after her money. Well, in fact, it was them that was after the money. And I was stuck in this cottage with no money. My daughter, she came. She came to see me, and we had to go through a ceremony. She said, "Mum," she said, "Nanny keeps telling me she doesn't know where she is." I've done a video on this, "Where is Mum?" And so we got together, and my daughter is clever, and she could see Mum was standing there. Where am I? Because people do get lost on the other planes. They don't know where they are, So where am I? She said, and I had to. I went to her. I said, "Look for Dad. He'll come and get you." And what about the dog? She said. What about the dog? Well, my sister took the dog, apparently. My dad came towards her and took her off. I thought, well, good, that's out of the way. But I didn't get to her funeral. I was so cross with her, and I was so ill in this little cottage, cold and miserable. I became very ill indeed. I just had a breakdown. Oh, I didn't tell you about that. The one I'd left behind, I had a kind of breakdown, which was, I can't go into all on one video, can I? But anyway, so I couldn't get to her funeral. My daughter, I don't think, has ever forgiven me. She was the only one who went, and she had to drive behind a hearse into the church. I mean, if I'd known that, I would have made a huge effort. But it was all distances and illnesses, and I thought my sister would be there. Anyway, my mother, I was in my little garden sitting there at the time she was buried, and I played my drum and did all the rituals, So that was it. So I did this cottage on my own with hardly any money, cold and miserable and ill. Mum had just died. Oh God, I better go. I want to tell you a very quick one. I've done about the haunting. Yes, I did about the haunting, didn't I? And so there I was, and I was, the final, I'll tell you very quickly, the landlord asked me to leave. He was next door, very noisy man, dogs and cows and what have you, not in the house. And he put a notice through my letterbox, "I want you out in 2 months. Can you imagine? I just got there. So I went into panic. I thought, I've got to get somewhere. So I went to the housing association. They tried to find me somewhere. Meanwhile, around there, the removal people, and I said, I've got to pack up stuff, and you have to book them in advance, and they're very expensive. He said, "Where are you going, love?" I said, "I don't know." I'd booked the removal man. I don't know where I was going to go, and there I was, just lost my mother. I had no money, and I was there. I thought, I'm freezing cold. Anyway, on that note, next sequel, Do let me know what you think of these things, because I'd like to know. I put a lot into them. Can't somebody say thank you or well done? Or anyway, enjoy. Take care. Bye bye.